So I'm gonna go straight to the point here, alright? We're gonna have some real talk because today we're going to talk about burning money. I mean impulse buying, impulse spending. Yo, what's up friends? Welcome back to this week's video. If you're new here, what's up? My name's Nicole and I make weekly videos on personal finance, investing, self-development, and other fun and interesting stuff. So, today's October 3. Like, if you can see that, I'm filming this video on October 3. A week from now, it's going to be October 10. 10. We're gonna have another one of those monthly sales on every e-commerce platform ever, like those 11, 10, 12, insert number here kind of sales. Personally, I like these sales. Like, I get to buy the things that I need at a much lower price. But I also find them kind of problematic. I notice how I get so hyped up for these events because of all the advertisements I get on my phone, on my laptop, everywhere I go, YouTube, Instagram. They're all talking about the biggest sale happening during the month. And sometimes I feel bad and frustrated that I don't have anything in my cart. Like, I feel the need to add something to my cart and check it out, or else I'm gonna miss out on all these amazing discounts. Like that FOMO feeling. And also, even though there's no monthly sale, I also find it problematic that when I'm not doing anything, I'm just gonna open up like the Lazada app, Shopee app, and then look for something to spend my money on, even though I don't necessarily need anything at the moment. Everything makes you feel like you need to always be buying something, when in reality, there's nothing that you need to buy at the moment. And that's usually what causes people to impulse buy, right? Like, all of these apps just curate all of the nicest things that they know you want to make you feel like you need to buy these things, spend your money on things that you don't actually need. Okay, whoa, it's a bit of an aggressive intro, but yeah, what's my point? Where am I going? Why am I talking about all of these things? I talk a lot about personal finance on my channel, like making money, saving money, investing your money, you know, the ideal things that we should all be doing. But I don't think it's fair if we don't acknowledge the fact that one of the biggest roadblocks that we often have when it comes to managing your money is controlling our spending. Like I mentioned, in the world we live in today, like, it's hard to not fall into the trap of mindless spending, impulse buying, with all of these sites and advertisements shouting at your face that you need to be buying this, you need to be buying this, these are the discounts, buy. So I want to talk about some of the things that I do in order to avoid falling into this trap. Like, I'm not an expert, I'm also not perfect. Sometimes I do impulse buy from time to time, but I think that the things that I've been doing has helped me with that. So hopefully these things can also help you guys who are having trouble with controlling your spending. So here's the general flow of this video. First, we're going to talk about mindset. I like talking about the mindset because I find it essential to build that foundation, that mental model that will guide you in your decision-making process. Next, I want to talk about systems. So I'm going to talk about some of the systems that I've built that helps me control my spending. And third, BreadFam tips. So I actually asked some of you guys on my Instagram to share your own tips. Syempre, my systems are custom for me. They're what works for me, and whatever I do might not necessarily work for you. So it's important to see how other people do it so that you have a lot of options to draw inspiration from. So let's start with mindset. I think it's really important to start with the mindset, like building the proper mindset that can really set you up for success, because mindset is really the core component. It's the foundation upon which most of your decisions are built upon. And one of the biggest mindset shifts I had when it comes to looking at money is viewing money as time. What do I mean by this? Time is a limited resource. Like, once you spend your time on something, you'll never get that back. It's not something that you can just magically make more of. Let's say you have a job, and at your job, you work for 300 pesos per hour. Okay? So 1 hour of your time is worth 300 pesos. Now, whenever you're gonna buy something, like say for example, you're gonna buy something that's worth 6,000 pesos, you're not just spending 6,000 pesos. What you're doing is that you're exchanging 20 hours of your life for that item. Now, it makes you wonder, is that item worth exchanging 20 hours of my life for? And if yes, then I'll buy it. If not, then maybe I'll reconsider. So whenever I'm about to buy something, I really look back to how hard I had to work in order to make a certain amount of money. How many hours I had to work in order to earn this much money. So I can't bring myself to carelessly spend money just like that now. I don't know, like, I value my time. What's my point here? I'm not saying that shopping is bad. Shopping is fine. You're free to spend your money however you want. But you need to make sure that the purchases that you're doing are intentional, like you really want to spend that money. What's bad is impulse buying. I personally have a lot of things that I bought on impulse and now they're just sitting there collecting dust and they're just sayang pera because that's your time, right? Don't waste your time. I don't know if I'm making sense, but yeah. Being more intentional with the way you manage your money, with the way you spend your money, is really doing your future self a favor. Like, one of the reasons that I'm really working towards managing my money is because in the future, I don't want to work a job for the rest of my life. I don't want to be stuck in that rat race, as they call, living paycheck to paycheck, relying on your job just to pay for the bills. I don't know. It's a sad life for me. I'm scared of that. So I value my time, I value my freedom, so as much as possible what I'm doing now, I'm really saving as much money as I can, investing as much money as I can, so in the future I have a lot of money to enjoy. Alright, solid advice, good mindset, thanks for that. Now, I want to talk about my actual system. So, no impulse buy, more mindful spending. How do I do that? This mindset is cool and all, but it's limited, right? It's just there. So there are 3 main things that I do to help me avoid buying things on impulse. Number 1, I have a want list. Something that I find helpful when you feel the urge to buy something like, I want to buy this, is just to stop, breathe, put that thing into a want list. So my want list is just composed of like the date I wanted the item itself, how much it costs, and why I wanted that thing. Depending on how urgent that purchase is, I'm going to put like a date there on when I should reconsider the decision. Like, for example, I'll give myself 1 week, 2 weeks, a month to be able to really think it over. And usually I find like a week after, 2 weeks after, I don't want to buy that item anymore. So, success! Next, I have a free to spend fund. So just from the name itself, it's just a fund that I'm allowed to spend however I want. Guilt-free spending. I think other people call it a sinking fund. Whatever money is in my free to spend fund, I can use that to buy the things I have in my want list. If I don't have any more money in my free to spend fund, then I am not allowed to spend money on the things that I want to buy. It's really helpful because it helps me section out my finances so I don't keep draining money from my bank account. And another thing I learned from having this free to spend fund, like for example, as a student, I don't make a lot of money. So whenever I want to buy something and I don't have the money, it's an extra challenge to figure out what I need to do. I keep saying that, right? If ever there's something that you want, you need to be able to figure out what it is you need to do in order to get you the thing that you want. So if you want a new phone and you don't have money to get it, well, you need to go out there and figure out how to make money in order to buy that new phone. I made a video before about how I sold windbreakers and like made money that way. That was some good money that just really came out of a desire for me to be able to afford the things that I want. Even though I am not working a job right now, I am a student, I am not employed, I want to find ways to earn money so that I can start saving as early as I can and buy the things that I want. Like, I don't want to rely on my parents also for money, for allowance. We don't roll that way. And then 3, another thing that I do is having separate accounts for different purposes. So I made a video about my personal finance system. If you guys haven't watched that, you can check it out here. But essentially, I like having multiple accounts because it sections it out in my brain on what different funds are allotted for. In order to help you avoid impulse buying, you need to increase the friction on how easy it is to spend your money. And I also have certain accounts where in my mind I've already established that money only flows into this account. Money will never flow out of this account. So that's my system. Now it's time to hear about what you guys had to say. Alright, so you guys actually sent in a lot of responses through Instagram. I was so surprised. But I can't show all of them, but I just grouped them together, those who have the similar ideas. So the most common response I got from you guys was to give yourself time to think about the purchase. So instead of buying something right there and then, you guys said that you give yourself about 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, a week, months before you make a purchasing decision. Like, this strategy takes away the impulse buying, right? Because when you give yourself even like 30 minutes to an hour, it gives you time to think more intentionally about your purchases. So you can really think about it. Do I really want to buy this thing? Next, Martina says that you never ever use your credit card. Haha. When you use a credit card, it's just a piece of plastic. When you swipe it, when you enter it, you don't feel the pain of your cash getting deducted. It's only like 30 days after when you receive your bill where you're like, oh, damn. Yeah, I get that. But, you know, there's advantages of using credit cards when you're online shopping. Sometimes there are promos with certain banks, etc. Make sure that you know how to use your credit card responsibly. I personally do not have a credit card yet, but if I do get one rule I would have for myself is if I am not able to pay for that thing in cash, I cannot buy it with my credit card. No to irresponsible debt. Some of you guys said that the strategy you guys have is to have no money. If you have no money to spend, then you have no problems with impulse buying, right? Stonks move. Ben says that when she checks out, she just closes her eyes and hopes that it misses. That's funny. The button's pretty big though to check out, right? And there's different... I'm thinking too much about it. This is just funny. And Francois says guilt tripping. Based on my interpretation of this, I don't really like going through the guilt trip route. I don't like making myself feel like I'm depriving myself of something that will make me happy. Because we don't want that, right? A lot of people like, I don't want to budget because I'm putting constraints on myself. KJ sa buhay, I don't let myself to enjoy. But I don't like that mindset. We need to make it a happy experience, right? You're controlling your expenses, you're controlling your spending for yourself na rin. It's for your future. Next, a lot of you also said that you allocate a certain amount for you to be able to spend. So it's really being able to plan ahead and setting limits for yourself so you don't go over that. So similar to what I said for the free to spend fund, it's really putting a cap on what you're allowed to spend. And one of you guys even mentioned that you budget and list the things that you should buy, so you can list out the items talaga. So sometimes you find that if you just have like a free to spend fund, you weren't able to allocate it properly. And for Jansen, he says that he only brings a certain amount when he goes out to shop. Once the money runs out in his wallet, he can't buy anymore. So that's another thing, right? Really limiting yourself on what you can spend, either digitally or physically. Sinking fund. Yes, FI mindset. Metatine says that tracking your expenses is another good way to stop yourself from impulse buying. It really makes you become more intentional about what you are purchasing. Because when you're swiping with cards nga, you don't realize that you've already spent this much. But if you itemize each thing that you're buying, it puts it into perspective that, oh my god, I'm spending this much na pala. Like, more of these suggestions are about increasing the friction, making it harder for yourself to buy online. Like, OKK says that he or she uninstalls the app when he doesn't need to buy anything. Yeah, that's good. Like, putting like more friction between you and the online shopping experience. Because online shopping makes it so easy for you. So Spamrex says that you can also deactivate the option to buy stuff online. Then we have looking at the opportunity costs. So more of, if you spend this much money on that, what else could you have spent it on instead? A lot of you guys mentioned that whenever you're spending something, you kind of relate it to how much you could have spent it for your needs instead. Like, for example, if you want to buy a new phone, you can also think about it, that's about 2 months worth of groceries. Do I really want to buy that new phone? Yeah, something like that. You can frame it like that. Yeah, this is economics, like opportunity cost. You know, like when you spend your money on something, that forgoes the opportunity of you to spend it on something else. And this one's like, I like this advice. He says that he always thinks of his plans. He says to himself that a peso from my want is a peso away from my need. And then we have Sasa's advice. I think it's a good rule of thumb for all of us to follow. If she can't afford a certain item twice, then she can't afford it at all. I'll leave it to you guys to interpret all of these answers. Yeah. Solid advice. Thank you guys so much for sharing. That was really insightful. For those of you guys watching this, I want to know, what do you guys do? Type it down in the comments below. I want to read it, and it's also helpful for other people. You guys can follow me on Instagram. I post stories there almost every day. Like the Facebook page, join the Discord server. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week. Bye. Si ice cream nandyan. Bye. Pretend to set up however I want. Ang ingay sa labas. My God! Stop! So noisy. So the post says that there